Welcome everyone, I am Leroy Truth for Leroy Truth Investigations, and always record the police because that is how we shall hold them accountable. Now this story will infuriate you. I am in a different place today, and I'm in a secret undisclosed location amidst this deep, deep rich forest with a crystal clear emerald blue lake behind me. It's a gorgeous area. Now back to the story. This story will infuriate you. Out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Police Department. Cover-up, malfeasance, criminality against an innocent man. What happened? And you'll watch this in a minute on this report. What happened is there were these friends who were hanging out, spending time in a private cigar bar watching a basketball game. When suddenly they all heard a loud bang, and one of the friends looks down at his leg, and it is bleeding profusely. Someone had shot a gunshot from up above, and it went through the ceiling into the man's leg. Well, it turned out there was a man upstairs who accidentally discharged his firearm, and for some God-forsaken unknown reason, he panics, doesn't go out of the front door of the second floor apartment. He jumps off the balcony, which is a very high balcony, and runs away into the night. Well, the police get to the hospital, and they want to find an easy, quick suspect that they can charge. And insanely, they accuse one of the guy's friends. Well, how the hell could he have been in the private cigar lounge and simultaneously on the second floor and to fire a bullet into his friend's leg from above? Well, the police surround this guy and demand he stand up from a table and go with them to the police car. He's like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. So they gang up on him like gangs do, and they just tackle this guy like the old Joe Namath was tackled when he was sacked during a big game there. You may have seen the story before. The update is there was a settlement, finally, after 2.5 years, $150,000, which is nothing. It's nothing, by the way. It's ridiculous. The amount of money after 2.5 years, after you take 33% of expenses for the lawyers and all of the expenses the lawyers accrued, what's it coming out? Maybe 20, 30, 40 grand. And he should have never gone through what he went through. So comment on this video. Please subscribe to my channel. So many people watch all of our videos, the YouTube activists, and they watch our videos, and I'm happy you do, but they don't subscribe. And subscribing helps us to get more reach. So I really appreciate you. Subscribe, share this video, like this video, and watch this.
A Fox 6 investigation finds police used force against an innocent man, then failed to make any record of it. Well, now the city is cutting that man a six-figure check.
Fox 6 investigator Brian Paulson live in the studio to show you the breakdown in communication that led to one bad night. Brian?
Yeah, Ted and Mary, when 5 police officers tackled Michael Poe at a hospital lobby in 2021, they say they were just following orders. Their sergeant now says they misunderstood. But it's what the sergeant did next that will cost you, the taxpayer, the equivalent of the city attorney's annual salary.
Cooperate, cooperate.
Don't you hate when they say, cooperate, cooperate, we're beating the shit out of you, cooperate, stop resisting?
2.5 years after Milwaukee police did this, the city is writing a check to Michael Poe for $150,000.
I'm just ready to move forward with my life.
According to the original police report, it never happened. And it might have stayed that way.
That man ain't did nothing.
If not for a citizen with a cell phone.
Yeah, I remember seeing the
You saw it on Fox 6?
seeing it on Fox 6, yes.
And a Fox 6 investigation.
You knew it was going to happen, something bad was going to happen after that report.
Well, we all figured there was going to be a lawsuit. I mean, like usually when something like that airs, we figured there would be a lawsuit.
We just wanted something fair.
Poe sued Milwaukee police last year, not only because of what happened in the lobby of St. Mary's Hospital, but what happened after.
They knew that they did something wrong.
Would you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Now, newly released depositions offer further insight into what went wrong.
Just a miscommunication.
Mr. Poe was the victim of that miscommunication, which resulted in a violation of his civil rights.
It all started in April of 2021 in a private River West cigar lounge, where Poe and his friends were watching basketball.
We seen a big spark come from the ceiling.
Then I said, oh, it's a hole up in the ceiling.
A bullet from above struck a man in the lounge.
Blood is just gushing out of his leg.
So Poe and a friend rushed him to the hospital.
There's a hole in the ceiling.
Larry's right. I've been shot.
He said, I've been shot. I'm like, what?
Blood is pouring on his leg.
There, Sergeant Chance Bamba says he had no reason to suspect Poe had done anything.
He's, real relaxed, calm.
Until
I'm shot. What the am I supposed to do?
This man showed up at another hospital.
Nobody had prior knowledge of the second victim.
20-year-old Cameron Lee was in the apartment above the lounge when he accidentally fired his gun, then panicked.
There's got to be another way out. There's got to be another way out.
Jumped off the balcony.
That was a pretty big jump.
And ran.
I don't know how I did it, but I just did.
Back at St. Mary's, suspicion turned to an innocent man.
We have reasonable suspicion that the crime has been committed.
For me?
Yes.
I received a call from Sergeant Bamba, who had ordered me to place him in the back of the squad.
Officers William Mouch and Olivia Olson,
which is the order I was given by my sergeant,
say Sergeant Bamba ordered them to detain Poe.
It was an order from a boss.
Bamba now says,
I don't know if they were orders. I refer to them as simple asks.
They misunderstood.
I mean, it wasn't you better or there's consequences. It was for purposes of investigation. I would like you to place him in the back of the squad car.
Olson says they gave Poe a choice.
It's either you stand up and you go to our car, or you can do it in cuffs.
I'm not standing up and I'm not doing it in cuffs either.
Why not?
Because I'm not.
Well, it's
I'm not.
And when he said, I don't want that choice, who escalated it from there?
I don't know.
As she and Mouch moved in to handcuff Poe,
Listen to me, I'm not going out like that.
he became irate.
I'm not going out like that. Sir, I'm not going out like that, man. When fingers are getting pointed at you for something that you didn't do. What I do? What I do?
Stop fighting.
What I do?
And then
What I do?
Fighting, sir.
this happened.
Stop fighting now.
It's just basic physics. I mean, we guided him up with our force and guided him to the ground.
Officer Mouch described it as a trained technique known as decentralization.
The decentralization was a pull and push down. Basically, you secure the head and bring them to the ground.
But Sergeant Bamba later decided Poe simply fell down.
Mr. Poe kind of caught him off guard and stood up, and he lost balance and they fell to the ground.
Mr. Poe didn't just fall to the ground on his own, did he?
No, he definitely was assisted.
Do you believe that force was used against Mr. Poe?
Yes.
And anytime police use force, a supervisor is required to file a use of force report. Bamba never did.
Was it because Bamba didn't want to do the report on use of force?
Correct.
Did you think that was appropriate?
No.
The sergeant, who was already making plans to retire later that year, says he decided he could always file a report later, if Poe complained.
If he calls, you can always, file a use of force then.
After our investigation, Poe sued, and last month the Milwaukee Common Council voted to approve a cash settlement, but not before the city attorney's office took one parting shot.
See, even when people are innocent, the entire system is corrupt, because my focus has been on the corruption of the police. But the courts are even more corrupt than the police. And innocent men and innocent women constantly are being found guilty on things that they did not do. And it's just to support the system. A number of people have said, you know what? The system is just broken. No, it's not broken. It was made that way. There's no fixing the system. I have some good friends of mine who are looking at some time in prison because of the system and the collusion against an innocent man standing up for his and yours and your families and your children's families' constitutional rights.
In a letter to the Common Council, City Attorney Tierman Spencer writes the case was headed for jury trial when Attorney Gendy unexpectedly accepted the city's earlier settlement offer. He says he did so the day after the city successfully defended police in another federal case.
It's just a way to try and make an excuse for what they've done.
Do you think at this point in time would it make sense to withdraw and say, listen, we won in federal court on the other case. We will win on this with you.
Deputy City Attorney Jennifer Williams says it's too late.
Before I could withdraw our offer, he accepted it.
The offer was there. It was never rescinded. We accepted it. And that's the way things work in this world.
And the courts don't like that. Those sleazy district attorneys don't like that. So they got caught They got caught because they just weren't quick enough on things, and before they had a chance to do a rope-a-dope, the plaintiff accepted the offer.
I think it's fair.
Poe still believes police did something wrong that night.
But it was just one bad night.
Now he has 150,000 reasons to move on.
That doesn't erase all the great things the city has done. One bad night.
One bad night. You know, those guys with the brown shirts in 1940s with that guy with the funny mustache, there would be disgusting people who would argue that some of those brown shirt people probably did some good things. Maybe they helped a little old lady across the street at some point, and maybe they got a cat out of a tree while they're doing terrible, terrible things to people with gas and all of that stuff. I mean, this is disgusting how they are attempting to justify this. They don't want to just admit there was a profound, I don't know if you call it a mistake, because they don't think it was a mistake. Profound criminality that happened here. Period. Admitted. It was wrong. We're going to not only fire those cops. I can't stand when they say, well, they fired them. Oh, yeah, definitely fired them. But put them in freaking jail.
Our original story on this incident from last year has more than 2.6 million views on YouTube. And it was after that story that Milwaukee police opened an internal affairs investigation.
See the power of YouTube, ladies and gentlemen? Your power. You're the power. The more you watch, the more you subscribe to our channels, the more you like our videos, the more you comment on our videos and share our videos. That creates the public pressure. That makes a difference. It made a difference right here. And it brought out the truth, because the truth shall keep us free.
But by that time, Sergeant Bamba had already retired, so he was not a subject of the investigation. Internal Affairs found no violations were committed by any of the other officers involved.
We investigated ourselves, and ladies and gentlemen, once again, we did nothing wrong. We did not break policy. We broke human rights. We broke constitutional rights. We broke freedoms, but our policies transcend all of that. And we will almost always be found not guilty after we investigate ourselves.
We offered Milwaukee police a chance to talk about this case. They declined. Milwaukee City Attorney Tierman Spencer did not reply to a request for comment.
Michael Poe did nothing wrong. He was smoking a cigar, watching basketball. But there was a gunshot. What about the guy who fired that gunshot? What became of him?
Yeah, that young man you saw in the video, 20-year-old at the time, Cameron Lee, pleaded guilty to injury by negligent use of a weapon. He was sentenced to probation. As far as I can tell, at least from CCAP anyway, he's not been in trouble since. Obviously, had he not run that night, none of this probably ever would have happened, but that set off the chain of events. And here we are.
Of one bad night. All right.
Absolutely.
Brian, thank you.
There's not a complete happy ending to this story by any means. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. More police criminality, more police cover-up, and I will put information on the Milwaukee Police Department and the Milwaukee Mayor's Office if you so choose to redress the government. Always do so respectfully, politely, always peacefully, never with any type of violence or any threats of that nature, etc., etc. I am Leroy Truth for Leroy Truth Investigations. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video. Please share this video. I appreciate you, because individually we will fall. Collectively, we will take our freedoms back. And lastly, as Martin Luther King said so eloquently, the problem is not that we are outnumbered. The problem is that we are out-organized. And I'm working to change that. Each of you are as well. See you next time.